Hey, it's Bill Gross, and soon to join in here will be Patricia Castillo. And we are here with our Wednesday afternoon home buying seminar. We do every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And I'm a lot out of breath because I literally just got back from a workout. I have to work out every day to sell real
Yeah.
estate. To be here on time, I had to be out the door at 4 o'clock, and I got out the door at 4:08 or 7. I knew I'd be late. I'm rushing to be here. So those of you who I'm late for, I'm sorry. Hope you appreciate that I'm committed as well. I'm going to exercise every day so I can be effective to help my customers. And even my
That's
daughter,
right.
my grandson, I said, sorry, honey, I got a live stream here to run. And I got Patricia Castillo coming in, superstar agent from Las Vegas, Nevada, to give us some special upbeat on where the market is. So Patricia, what are you doing in
Yeah.
Las Vegas? Besides partying, what are you doing in Las Vegas?
Besides gambling, hitting the slot machines. So, this retreat that I'm on right now, it's basically just a reset for a lot of agents and having us recommit to, the focus of being a real estate agent, what that means for our business. So basically servicing our clients to the, highest level possible. And in this market that has shifted already, a lot of agents are feeling a little lost, just not knowing how their business is going to work out. Homes were selling so quickly in the last 2 years that, there wasn't a whole lot of marketing that needed to be done. As soon as it went on the MLS, the home was sold. And as far as for buyers, there was a lot of bidding wars going on, and they were just really paying top dollar for a home. And so what we're talking about today is, also for home buyers, just being recommitted to that process. If you had the idea to purchase a home, then that's where your focus should be, is in purchasing a home. And the reason why you had the idea in the first place is probably because it's something you wanted for yourself and your family, and also to build that wealth for yourself and your family. So part of this retreat that we were on was just talking about that commitment. Once you have an idea, what's that time frame look like for you to, once you have the idea, and then to execute that idea? And for everybody, it could be different. When I first bought my house, it took me a couple of years to actually execute that plan of purchasing a property. So it's just really important to look at, what your time frame is and what your level of commitment is to that idea of purchasing a home. And then, of course, talk to a knowledgeable real estate agent that has been in the business for a long time, and that can really guide you through that process and what the steps are to realistically get you to that time frame, as opposed to talking to a real estate agent that just needs another commission check and is willing to just get you into any kind of property, not necessarily the one that is going to be most suitable for you and your family. Yeah.
There's a lot to unpack. You said a lot of things. So I'll share you. I didn't go to that conference today.
Yeah.
Because I'm really busy. And
Right.
I think when I read all the real estate markets crashing, I do a real estate piece every Monday. And it's on my YouTube where I analyze the real estate market, and I constantly see really exaggerations. I feel like it's designed to scare consumers. I don't know why. I have some theories on it, but that's just my theory. But what I do know is that the news does not correspond with the facts. And especially when the news is predicting the future, nobody has it. Well, I have a crystal ball. It's right there. But
is that your Amazon crystal ball?
Well, it's a crystal ball, Patricia. It's legitimate crystal. Don't make fun of it. Don't be a hater, Patricia. Come on.
I need to get one now.
If there's a better one, let me know. If there's one that has answers in it, I'll buy it. But alas, my 63 years on this earth have told me there is no crystal ball that works anywhere in the world. And so when you see a news story about the real estate market, I'm trained to look for the facts and the data that the headline's based on. Because too often they'll talk about how the market's crashing, but when you read the data, that doesn't match with the headline at all. And the data does suggest less sales by about 30%. The data does not suggest the housing prices are dropping or have dropped overall. Now, when I say that, it's always been the case in America out of 50 major metro areas, that in a year, there's 10 they're going up and 3 or 5 they're going down, and the rest are kind of towards the middle. There's always some place the market goes down, but in general, the market overall, right now, in general, the price is not going down. It is true where there's new home building in abundance, certain areas of Texas, Florida, Arizona. Those home builders may have overbuilt, and they're faced with empty houses or cutting prices. They can't keep them empty because they'll go broke, so they're cutting prices. Those are exceptions. But in LA, maybe there's price reductions. And I've had sellers who are unreasonable and priced too high.
Right.
In fact, you and I are working on one where we priced it at $699. No, and then we get to $599, and all of a sudden, all kinds of offers.
Right.
Why? Because the property is worth about $599 or a little bit more maybe, but it's not worth $699. And so that's just the reality of the market, that there are still people looking to buy. And the people, your clients who want to buy, other clients I've talked to want to buy that, they want to buy property. It makes sense. They have a business. They have to be somewhere. They might as well be there. They'll pay for it. And so I think the key question home buyers have to look at is, do you need to buy a house? And if you do, if it's a good decision for you in the long run to buy real estate, it's a great time to buy when other people are scared. There's a little less competition. You're going to get a little more attention, and not to be scared. And so many real estate agents right now are frightened.
They sure are.
Yeah. And a guy called me today. It was a buyer on a property. He started quizzing me. I said, well, what is this about? He said, well, I want to buy a property. Well, where? Somewhere in LA. Well, it's a big area. Where? I have no idea yet. I said, I thought about referring to you in the beginning of the conversation, but as it went on, I just said, listen, I don't really work with buyers. And if you're not clear where you want to buy, I don't really know. I can't help you. You have to know what you want. You have to know where you want to be. You have to know what feature set you want. You have to know what's important to you. Like anything else, because it is competitive within that range. So anyhow, it's a long way of saying the market's pretty darn good right now. I'm not complaining.
It sure is.
I put one in escrow on Monday. If you and I get together, we might have another one in escrow this week. And I got another deal I was trying to put together today. So there's business out there happening for sure.
There is. I have 2 listings right now, one in Long Beach, one in Downey. The one that you were helping me on with, that one's a probate. And I've been getting so many calls on that one. And I've told them, I've advised them that until we have that court approval and court confirmation, we're probably looking out, maybe a month and a half or so. But I think buyers have just been really going through a lot the last couple of years, that they're willing to wait. And I have a few that wanted to send in offers already. And I said, well, hold off, because between now and that time in the future, the interest rates are going to have changed. And so most likely you're going to have to update your buyer's loan approval. So let's hold off on sending offers and see where we're at once we have that court confirmation. But I have at least 5 buyers that are on standby right now. And they're not even in a hurry to go out and make an offer on another property, because they really want to wait and see if this one comes through for them.
Yeah. So I would say this, for people who want to buy property, it's a great time to buy. People are scraping around looking for property to buy, looking a little harder, but those who work a little harder to find something in this market have a little less buyers to compete with. You're not going to be the only buyer offering a property if it's a good deal, but you'll have less. You won't have 11, you'll have 3. This is more of a normal market, and this is summer in Los Angeles. This is a summertime market where it is competitive. Maybe it'll slow down September, October, and I say slow down activity. I don't know about prices going down. And I would say this, for when you see people talk about price cuts, dig deeper in what they're talking about in the news. Yes, home builders, if you're a home builder and you built 20 houses in Phoenix, Arizona, and you price your houses 20% higher than the last one, you might need to cut the prices to get rid of them, because you can only so many people are moving in, and the prices have gone up a lot in those areas, and there was a lot of inventory. But in markets like where we live, there is no extra inventory in Los Angeles. There just isn't. They're not building anywhere. I haven't seen a new house being built other than a replacement house and knockdown and replacement. I haven't driven by a new tract of homes before COVID, a year or two maybe, here in LA. Right. There used to be infill Signal Hill, and used to be some infill in Pasadena and Covina Hills and such. Those days are over in LA County.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a client that's been looking for a property, a pool house. I mean, a swimming pool. He wants a home that has a pool. And
Patricia, let's get him one. I want a party.
Yeah,
let's go.
I've sent him other listings and that are really nice. And he's really, just has his mindset on having a swimming pool. And now that, we have been seeing a few more homes coming on the market in Covina, there's been a lot of listings lately. So nice. I've been seeing more pool homes coming up. And so we're working on that, on getting that pool home for him. And, I'm just so excited because it's not the same market that we saw last year or the year before. So I know we're not going to be going into a bidding war where there's, 20 or 30 offers on this one property that has a swimming pool.
Right.
So it's a good time. It's a very exciting time, I think, for buyers because the momentum has changed in the market. Yeah. And so if you're looking to purchase a home, irrespective of what the rates are, you're not going to marry the rate. You can refinance in the future and bring that rate down. The other thing that I've seen that's, I think, more exciting for buyers, which was non-existent the last 2 years, was that sellers are now offering concessions because the homes have been sitting a bit longer on the market. Right. So imagine that. A buyer last year couldn't dream of getting a concession from a seller.
Not nickel. You couldn't get the time of day. It was just, as a listing agent, when people asked for one, it was just no, 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 and no. Shanae Davis, hand up. Let's get you unmuted. What's going on, Shanae? How can we help you?
Hi, Bill. How are you? Okay, you guys, I'm not dressed. I'm just now coming from the gym. But anyways, I had a question. I jumped on here for this. So I have a couple of clients. I do wholesaling. So I don't do, I'm not really in like the real estate, but I have a couple of people, phone numbers in my phone, and they would like to purchase a house. They're like in Vegas. They're like paying like $4,000, $5,000 for rent. And of course, like, rent's going up everywhere. So I was just like, they don't have the money to invest in a property and flip it the way I'm work, but they surely, what I'm asking is there any programs for people that I guess they don't have like their paperwork, like correct, like they don't have like their credit and.
Oh, Shanae, this is the market for you, honey. So a couple of things I would say to you. You're a wholesaler, not a realtor. So here's a couple of options. One, if they qualify to buy a house, but you can't do it because you're not an agent, find a realtor that you're feeding buyer leads to who feed you back deals too, right? So find somebody you can work together, number one. Number two, you need to research the topic of subject twos. This is the market opportunity of a lifetime for a wholesaler and agents who learn about the power of utilizing the mortgage the seller already has. If they can afford a good payment, but they don't have the credit, they don't have the income stream to document, and they have some cash. You have to have some cash to close, and got to have some cash to give it to the seller to get them interested. You may have a seller who has a house they bought a year ago in Vegas, and I don't know if the market there is flattening a little bit, but with a $4,000 a month payment, you're talking about pretty good sized mortgage. With the low rates that the seller might have, the $600,000 mortgage, but they want to sell the house, you might be able to sell the property subject to, where your buyer pays some money to the seller, some cash, closing costs, money to you, and then the seller, and they wrap the loan. They make the mortgage payments, and then maybe they make a loan payment to the seller as well. So it's a little more than I can go into. It's not my specialty, but I do know that this is the market for that, called subject to or sub to. You should go on the internet and go onto YouTube and search Pace Morby, P-A-C-E, Morby, M-O-R-B-Y. Pace Morby sub 2, S-U-B-T-O. And they do a great job. Now, they're a program they sell, but I'll tell you, they do a lot of video for free. Sounds like you're starting out. I'm guessing you don't have a lot of extra cash, but you might get one or two sold and then use that money to invest and get in the program that way. But I think sub 2 would be perfect for when you have buyers with who can afford a nice size payment. They can take over the seller's payment. They can pay the payment to the seller for a second mortgage, perhaps, and the cash goes to you in the closing costs, and you can make some money. So look into sub 2s, and Pace Morby, I think, is the master of that. Okay.
Thank you.
Now check it out and circle back and let me know either on this call or in general. Get back to me. Let me know if that is a good option for you or not, because I want to send you some place. I don't want to get rid of you. I appreciate coming with us regularly, but I hope it's a good answer for you. I think it's a good answer for you, but let me know if it is or not. Okay.
I will definitely let you know. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. Do you have anything you want to add to that, Patricia?
So yeah, so with the subject twos, I think that loan just stays in the seller's name, correct? So there would have to be that trust level as well, that the buyer is going to continue making those payments and not, go into default. So the seller would have to be really faithful in that with that buyer.
Well,
they're going to continue
actually,
making that payment.
Not my area of specialization, but I'll say there's a couple of different ways I've seen it done. One way is there's some trust and the buyer pays directly. Another way is there's a servicing account that's set up that both parties are on, that the buyer deposits to, and from there goes to the mortgage payment, that the seller has the access to see the payment history. Of course, the seller's still in the mortgage, so they can get the history from the mortgage. So there is a servicing company, and this is one of the things PACE teaches. Also, there's always a risk on subject to that the lender might say, hey, you sold the property, we're going to call it due. And you can imagine why. If they did a mortgage at 2.5%, now they're doing them at 5.5%, they might want to pay off the loan. There's a company that PACE has that has insurance that will insure the seller that if there's a default, they'll step in and pay it off and make a good and lend the money to them. So definitely, it's like anything else in life. If you do one, you'll probably do a bad job. But somebody who does 10 or 50 of these a month, they've developed the systems, the procedures, and the team to do it. So I would definitely, and they were a big problem in California in the 60s and 70s, but the business has been refined a little bit. And you can do subject twos today where the seller's protected, insured, and the payment's done, and they can verify the payment's being done on time. Okay?
That sounds like a really good option.
I think for a realtor too, who works with buyers, it's a great option because there'll be there will be again soon some expired listings because the seller wants a higher price. They have a lot of equity, and they also maybe have a really good mortgage. And so what happens is, you think about it. Think about a house your buyer might want to buy today. Imagine they want to buy a $600,000 house and borrow round numbers $500,000. They're looking at a mortgage today of 5.5%. But if the seller has a mortgage at 2.5% or 3%, let's just say 3% is a round number. That's 2.5% interest savings that the buyer and seller can split if they figure out how to make it work together, or if you as the agent figure out how to make that work together. So it's worth money. 2.5% a year on $500,000 is like $10,000, $12,000 a year. It's real money. So it's worth looking into how can we save that mortgage if we can, to benefit the seller if that's your client, and or the buyer if that's your client. And I believe in my career, there's never been such a run-up of interest rates. It's never happened before. So and there never was. As I mentioned to Sinead, there's insurance and the service companies. Those didn't exist 30, 40 years ago because technology didn't allow them. Now technology allows them. So as a real estate agent, if I was working more with buyers, I would definitely want to master the subject to market, because I think there'll be more opportunities of that than ever before as a niche to really learn. I just think it's the money's just sitting there waiting to be had. Think of every listing right now where the seller has you can go online and check the public records and see what the mortgage was when they took it out. And they took it out a few years ago. It's probably in the 3s or below. And that's real money that you can effectuate for the client if you can figure out how to do it. Shanae asked about rent to own. That's another option. That's another great option. Lease option is the most common. Rent to own is more for personal property like TV sets or furniture. So rather than rent to own, normally in the real estate market, it's a lease with the option to purchase is the term we use. But definitely lease options is another tool. Pace Morby again is a master on lease options. I would definitely look into that. Again, he has a bunch of free YouTube material, a lot of great. I mean, I've watched in the last 2 months. I've watched about 10 or 15 hours of his material, and I just learn every time I listen to it. He's a master of that. Thanks, Shanae. Good stuff. Okay. Thank you, Shanae. Thank you for asking the question. Please come back and let us know how it works out. I want to hear you. I want you to do a victory dance with us. I want to see balloons and confetti. I want some music. I want to see a little dance of some sort, So we got to keep it clean, but we want to see a dance. We want to see happiness. Okay. So what else we got going on? I don't see any other questions. Shanae, thanks for participating, but I don't see any other questions.
Yeah, I just checked my Facebook. I don't see anything either.
Okay.
Does anybody have any questions? Looks like we have Alice on the call, Sierra, Jeffrey, and then Shanae we were just talking with. Does anybody have any questions at this time?
Jeffrey, how about a quick update on credit services and improvement? How we can make sure our buyers, if they're going to get ready, if you're not ready to buy now, let's get you ready and get Jeffrey with you on the credit side. Huh?
Absolutely.
Well, thanks, guys, for letting me chime in. The interesting thing, I think, Bill, one thing you touched on is how fast the interest rates went up in the shortest amount of time. I've been around, not like forever, but about 18 years, and a lot of people have been around a lot longer than
Not
me.
forever.
Jeffrey, that was a nice way of saying I'm not as old as you, Bill, but I'm pretty damn old.
You know, I'm what,
Yeah.
26
I'm not quite that
now?
old.
I'm like 26 now. But I'm not saying you were around longer, but it seems like 18 seems to be a shorter number in a lot of people, because I meet so many people and they've been around so long. And I love to hear the ups and downs that went on. But over the time I've been around, I previously was a lender. And when I first started, what Shanae had mentioned was about the rent to buys. Right. I was a lender, and there was a ton of that stuff going on. It actually helped the original owner of the property secure money, while someone would have up to 2 years to purchase a property if they needed to get their credit better. Right. So it gave them an opportunity where they'd have to put down a deposit. They just didn't have the credit or the amount of money that it would take to buy that property. So it is a great way to do things. I think, like you mentioned, there's other ways to do things in the world today. But when it comes to the interest rates, what we're finding now, and I'll give you an example, an average person that has a $500,000 goes in to buy a house for $500,000, their mortgage now is $700 more per month than it was last year at this time. Right. That's crazy. That's like unbelievable. But then you take the other side, and I had a woman who actually had a home, and she wanted to buy a second home that she was going to move into, much better home. So her credit score dropped below 700, and she couldn't get approved for the loan. And it went to 699. Now the house was 1.8 million. So she needed 1 point, and that's the scariest place to be. You're better off needing a few points than you are to need 1 point. But within, like where I work with On Track Credit Path, and she actually, within the 2 months, we were able to get her up 12 points so that she could go finish the loan on the house. But right now, that 6% interest rate is very high, and it's a lot higher for someone with lower credit scores. So we're, for the first time on our end, we're seeing credit scores that might be at 5 3/4 for someone with good credit, but 6.5 for someone with lower credit. And usually you don't make it into two different numbers. And I think that's where you mentioned about how they try to scare people about stuff. I think this is a great time to buy. You have less competition. Right. I'm not finding anybody that's not finding a house, because now they're actually being able to find a house. Patricia, the stuff you said about being able to maybe get a little money back for closing costs, a lot of stuff is a lot easier for people today, but it seems like the media is kind of steering it the other direction. But from our end, credit score is everything today. If you want to stay in the fives, you want to have good credit. If you don't mind, you're going to be in a little bit to the middle sixes or above if your credit's a little bit on the struggling side. But we're here to do a review. If anybody ever needs a question, that's what we're here for. And we always do those for free.
Yeah, I don't know why. And again, I don't want to get a political discussion, but I think, I'll give you one example what I think is going on. When people are scared, they look to somebody for certainty. So if you're advertising on a website, if you're Yahoo Finance or your Google News, you want to scare people, and then you have the solution, which is Zillow or something related, right there to give you information. And I think that's part of it. When you see articles about rates dropping, going up, they're going down, and then there's lending trees supposedly to give you a competitive mortgage rate. You have to understand that websites and news organizations today are really just advertising machines. Everything they do is designed to sell you something. Unless you're paying a subscription and then you're the customer. There's a rule that says that if you're not the customer, you're the product. What that means is if you're not paying for something, you're getting something you think is for free. The real reason it's free is they're selling you to somebody else. That's why when you go on these websites, Zillow or whatever, you get information, you get a ton of people are going to call you forever because they sold your information. That's how they pay for that. There was a company, Robinhood, that had no commissions on selling a stock. Turns out they were selling trades to these high-powered investment companies that would see, oh, you're buying 100 shares of Tesla. They would buy it right before you and the price would go up and they would beat you to the punch. So you became the product. So you have to understand when you see the news about real estate, all that matters is the house you may want to buy, your finances, your local market. And that's why you need an agent who works in your area to give you the real data. And I would say right now, with inflation, there's always been one time-tested value holder in California where you can make money, whether rates went up or down, inflation went up or down, and that's real estate. And I wouldn't buy anybody telling me otherwise today. I just don't see it. Okay. Any other question? Jeffrey, thank you for your advice. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I keep on the soapbox. I don't mean to. I'm going to step off the soapbox here and let you go. I'm just so passionate about this because I just see people so scared, and when people are scared, don't make good decisions. And whatever it is, I would urge you to take a look at your situation and do the best thing for you and consult. Talk to Patricia, talk to me, and let's see if we can help you make the right decisions. Okay, any last words, Patricia, from Las Vegas or otherwise?
Yeah, it's been about 115 out here every day. So I'm glad that these conference centers have amazing air conditioning. But yes, when you're filled with fear from the media, you either freeze, you make bad decisions, or you don't make any decisions. And then you're just that further away from the idea that you once had. Yep. So if you're in the market to purchase a home and you have that idea, even if it's just an idea, let's talk about it and let's get a plan going for you so we can help you execute that plan and get you into the home that is suitable for you and your family.
Let's do this.
So I can be reached at 323-365-9909.
Again?
323-365-9909.
I'm Bill Gross. I'm available on social media at Bill Gross EXP. Or you can call me 310-210-0008. Really, if you're looking to buy property, Patricia's really the best one to handle that. When I get a buyer on my listings, she's my go-to person because I know she'll take care of the customer, get them the best service possible.
Thank you, Bill. I appreciate that.
Okay, have a great trip, Patricia. I'm sure we'll talk here in the next couple of days while you're in Vegas. Have a great time. Jeffrey, thanks for your help. Shanae, thanks for coming on. Don't forget to circle back. Let us know how you do. We do this every Wednesday, 5 p.m. It's our home buying seminar, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. We stream it live. If we can help you, give us a call. Make it a great week. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.